It's Friday, so you know what that means. Our prediction show, spectacular. I tried my best.
You are Locked On Bama, your daily podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back into Locked On Bama, AHSA Radio Network's Luke Robinson. That's me. Alabama internet legend Jimmy Stein. That's him. Want to thank you every day for being here every day. Thank you, newbies, for being here today. And thanks, everybody, for making us first listen every single day. You guys are the best. Jimmy, a lot of predictions to give today. We might even throw a prediction on St. John's, Bama. But definitely want to give a prediction on Bama LSU. I think one thing we always love to do is give predictions on individual stuff, and it may not always be regular stuff. Is there any wild prediction you have for this game right now?
I wouldn't necessarily say it's wild. I know what Alabama's football team needs to expect, so it's going to be what I expect because that's the fair way to do it, right? I expect to see LSU play their best game of the year. And I know that a lot of people are like, you lost the head coach, you lost the OC. What are you talking about? Because we've seen other teams do something similar when they've lost their head coach. And I know this is not fair because I'm not an LSU insider, but I don't think it's crazy to suggest that maybe Brian Kelly wasn't the most beloved head coach by his players, and Frank Wilson is highly popular on the team. They might want to play for Frank Wilson a little harder maybe than they played for the last guy. Also, the pressure's off for them. There's no pressure. Brian Kelly's fired. They're not going to make the playoff. They're just out, playing football, and we all know this is a talented team. So I suspect it's going to be close. I suspect it's going to be very hard fought. And if we want a specific out there prediction, I think a big game for Lottie Brooks is loading here, now healthy. His target share has increased all season long, interrupted by the injury. Now Ryan Williams a little banged up. Looks like he's going to play. Questionable means almost always they play, but he's obviously a little banged up. So Jeremy Bernard and Lottie Brooks, I think, become kind of targets 1 and 2. I like a big game from Brooks here, lining up inside, staying away from LSU's outside corners who are outstanding, particularly Delane.
I'm going to make a prediction that Ryan Williams has less than 50 yards.
Okay.
Total. And in fact, it may not even be like 25. I have been going over on Ryan Williams every game, and I've been missing just about every game. So I'm taking the under, going to reverse jinx this mother, and here we go.
Reverse jinx. And again, I've said here on the show, I think, Ryan's kind of been banged up going all the way back to Florida State. I don't think he's been, and sometimes when you get these nagging things, the only way to completely cure it is rest. And I don't know if y'all have noticed, but it's sort of tough to find rest spots during football. Here you get a rest spot, a bye week. Ryan comes out of it actually, obviously still a little banged up. So I really think that's the explanation for as much as anything in terms of why Ryan hasn't built on his freshman season. And this has been more like, I don't think it's going to be typical of what we see with Ryan throughout his football career.
I certainly hope not. I'm just beginning to buy into the idea that this is potentially not a slump, but a sophomore slack. And not slack, sophomore slide.
Sophomore slide.
Slack makes it sound like he's not doing anything, and that's not what it is. And slack makes it sound like he's being lazy, and that's not what it is. No, I just think it's and look, part of me is like, this is a good thing. I mean, it's a good thing to spread the ball around this much. It's a good thing that Isaiah Horton's a threat, and that Jeremy Bernard obviously is a threat. And you know what? Jeremy Bernard is a seasoned veteran. He's one of the leaders of the team. It's okay. It's okay that Daniel Hill's getting more catches and Cuevas and, Rico Scott. I mean, shoot, we're throwing to Rico Scott in important moments. Lottie Brooks, we're definitely throwing to him in important moments.
Zay Horton.
That's okay.
Zay Horton. Even guys like Cole Adams. We hadn't used all year is Jalen Hill. I'll tell you what, he's a pretty good football player. Jalen Hill. Now, he's, probably not 100% himself, but he's up there. And I think Ryan's fine. If Ryan was hurt, he wouldn't be playing. He can play through this. It's just hard to play this sport when you're not 100%. I think Ryan's fine. And next year, when he's healthy and the health gods smile upon him, like usually happens, when a year after they don't, he's a whole year. I think he's gaining a lot of maturity and learning how to play the wide receiver position at the highest level. That's still going on. I will say all this upcoming offseason, Luke, I'll repeat it constantly. I think Ryan has a monster junior year. I'm
with you on this. And see, and look, that's something we can predict later. I'm not down on Ryan Williams, but the people that have been telling me, hey, you are glazing Ryan Williams, which I so hate that term.
Oh God,
it's the worst term.
It's so rude.
Well, it's rude, and it's like it's just I don't like saying there's just certain where I will cuss like a sailor off of this podcast, but there's certain words I just can't say, like, and they're not,
I don't even say that word.
Say I'm like, with just like, yeah, this is what I just say.
When I'm doing locker room talk with my guys, I don't even say that word.
It's terrible. I don't ever say that. Yeah. I think this generation has they do some stuff. I thought my daughter's going to a formal. She's dating a guy at Ohio State. She's from Columbus. And I said, well, good, you're getting a new formal dress. Do you have a date? She goes, no, I'm not going with a date because I'm still dating what's his name up in Ohio. And I'm like, well, that's just, you don't go to a formal without a date, right? I mean, she was like, yeah, a lot of people are doing it. It's like, y'all are weird.
What's all that 6-7 stuff they do?
I know.
Kids.
We still are not even.
Yeah, I learned that from you. And by the way, the brewery where I hang out all the time, Ferret Brewery, they now have their own 6-7 IPA.
Oh wow!
And I'm like, thank God Luke told me about this, so I know what this means. Because otherwise, I'd be staring at the menu the whole time, going, "What in the world is?"
I don't even want 67 beer.
Well, sometimes depends on how Alabama's playing.
All right, I'm going to make another prediction. Lottie Brooks, first TD, baby.
First TD. I love it. And again, I love the matchup here for him. Again, for those that are unaware, obviously Lottie Brooks, when he plays, he lines up in the slot. Who's LSU's slot defender? For a lot of the years, it's been Harold Perkins, former pass rusher, former inside linebacker. He lines up at star a lot. You got to love that matchup. Now, Brooks is going to, hey, if you run a route into Perkins, prepare to get bodied up. I mean, this is a physical dude and a heck of an athlete. I'm just saying, I think that's a nice matchup. But even when it's not Perkins and it's someone else, I just like that matchup. And I'm trying to give due respect and stay away from Delane outside, who I think is a first round pick type talent that's going to limit. He's not going to, completely eradicate, but he's going to limit whoever he's covering. He's just a next level freak.
LSU leads the country in SEC passes defended. I'm not sure I totally understand that. I mean, is that?
I guess that's a pass broken up, getting your hand on the ball.
Yeah, because I
would think Delane would be up there with that stat.
Yeah, and Delane has 8 of those, and they also are second in the league with interceptions with 10. So I'll make another prediction that Ty Simpson does throw an interception, but he also throws for 275 plus.
I like both. I like that. I think we're on the same page here. Nice game for Ty. Again, I would hope that what we see out of Ty is more efficiency. I'm going to always count on that with him as opposed to the monster PlayStation type numbers game, because so far that hasn't really been him. Also think you could predict this every week and you'd have been wrong most weeks, but I also think a big play with his legs is coming. I think it's just almost easy to forget that Ty is fantastic with the ball in his hands running downfield. We just haven't seen much of it. Why? Because we don't do a lot of QB runs. We don't do a lot of QB design runs. A lot of Ty's plays have been on scrambles when he just tucks it and finds him. But he usually finds a receiver he likes. Why? Alabama's receivers are good. They do get open. If his first read's not open, his second read is. He hasn't had to tuck it and scramble a whole lot. How about this stat? We haven't talked about it. Shout out to my guy, Casagrande with AL.com for this.
Which means Big House.
For noting this. Casagrande does mean Big House. Big House says Alabama's on track to punt fewer times than in any time in Alabama history.
Wow.
That's amazing to hear. And you're like, okay, why? Clock rules, fewer possessions. Clock rules mean fewer possessions. There's the number one reason. And third, Alabama they're very efficient. They get the ball, they drive the ball. There's not a lot of 3 and outs. Last year, we punted all the time. Burnup's leg about fell off. I mean, because we had so many 3 and outs. This year's team, now they did have quite a few 3 and outs against South Carolina, but to this point, we can consider that an outlier. If they do it again, we can say, well, are they regressing to the mean here? But they don't go 3 and out. They move the ball. They score. They kick a field goal. They go for it on 4th down. I think you add all that up, and that's why there's fewer punts. But that is an amazing stat that Casagrande came up with there.
Yeah, that's a good take on the South Carolina thing too. Like, is that an outlier? Right now, I lean it is an outlier because it came on the tail end of 4 straight ranked games, and then you play South Carolina. That's why I lean that way. But if it happens again, especially when you look at LSU defensively, while I remember being so incredibly impressed by LSU defensively against Clemson, now that we've had much more of a sample size, and now that who knows about the Weeks kids, will they be in or out? And also, Harold Perkins has not been playing the way we thought Harold Perkins would be playing necessarily. And LSU has only gotten 17 sacks. Now, Alabama's only gotten 15. That's another prediction. I think Alabama out-sacks LSU in this game. And because LSU is rotating offensive linemen, like they've had this octet of offensive linemen that just move around. And I think that Alabama's going to get some more sacks. But we got a few more predictions to go through. But right now, I'm going to tell you about DoorDash. God, I love DoorDash. They bailed me out of so many jams. Can't even tell you.
It's a great name, DoorDash. They're dashing over.
Yeah.
You don't want
in the Christmas season.
Door crawl would have been a terrible idea, but DoorDash.
Yeah.
Get your attention.
Or Door will get it to you when we get it to you. No, it's DoorDash. It's almost the weekend. Time to look back and crown this week's MVP on who delivered. Well, you know what? I'm going to say who delivered. The off week delivered. We needed it. How about our training staff delivered? We needed some R&R. And you know what? You probably need R&R. You're just sitting at home and you don't want to get up and go to, Maki Fresh or, the barbecue joint down the street or wherever, or Pizza Hut, whatever you want. You know what? Let DoorDash handle that for you. Because for Bama, that's the way to go. And just like the off week delivered for Bama, DoorDash delivers your Saturdays with DoorDash Streaks. You save every Saturday you order. Stack it up all season, and you could save up 250 smacks, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Wow. Order this Saturday. I'm talking about tomorrow. Keep the streak alive. Fuel your game day only with DoorDash. Terms apply, but you know what? They apply to everything. And promo period ends November 18th. So you need to hurry. Jimmy Stein guarantee.
How many you're talking about LSU sack number in the last segment. How many sacks do you think LSU would have if they played Harold Perkins in the same way Alabama plays Jan Zapier?
Ooh,
you'd have a lot.
Well, you wonder, I guess that's another thing is like, while I'm looking at LSU only having 17 sacks, I don't really know how they're going to do defensively. They may have changed a bunch of stuff in the off week. No, I doubt it. I mean, it's late in the season to be doing wholesale changes. I'm just saying they might get a little funkier. They might.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what Brian Kelly may have been holding Blake Baker back to a degree. Brian Kelly may have been saying, "Hey, I insist on A, B, and C. You got to do it that way." And now Blake Baker has free reign. I'm sure that one of the things Frank Wilson has done as offensive coordinator, if it wasn't done already, is tell Blake Baker, hey, you run the defense. I ain't got nothing to do with that. I'm going to help run the offense because that's my thing. You run the defense. So I think we're going to see 100% Blake Baker. Probably isn't great for Alabama, to be honest. He's a good defensive mind. But Harold Perkins has always been, I wouldn't say played out of position. That's just a really difficult thing for Harold himself and his people because he's so good at rushing the passer and being a designated pass rusher, but he wants to play pro football, and his size is going to kind of keep him out of He wouldn't play that same position. He's trying to find an NFL position. Where can I play in the NFL? Because that's not going to work for me. But so it's got to be a little frustrating for LSU fans to me, because I would think that if you just played Perkins as Alabama plays Yonze Pierre, he could have a bigger impact on the game than he does right now. But he's still impactful. People sell him a little short on, well, he's not what he was as a freshman. Well, he's playing a different position, but he is an impactful athlete on the field. No question about that.
He's playing less like Perkins and more like a Harold right now. Like back when you said, man, Perkins, that dude can play. And now it's more like, hey, Harold's okay.
Yeah.
Look, few other things.
Harold's fine. Had some soup with him at the deli the other day.
A few other things that are interesting here. Alabama has an 86-game home winning streak against unranked teams. Now, it stretches like 20 years. The last time, of course, Jimmy, you will know this answer. Do you know who it is? The last unranked team to beat us.
Louisiana Monroe?
Correct.
That's not true. Is that really? Oh, at home. At home.
Yeah, at home. Yeah, at home. Yeah,
I was thinking it was going to be trickier than that, but no, that is crazy.
Now, and also Alabama, LSU comes into this game unranked. Now, before you say, okay, well, that bodes really well for Alabama, let me tell you this. I was a student at Alabama. I was on a date with a setup date with a girl from LSU who was just smokingly, deliciously hot.
Oh,
and she had
you were going to say she was smoking.
Nothing to do with me.
She was smoking in the stadium and then ushered out.
She may have been doing that because she kept leaving me. I don't blame her. But I'm just saying, I remember thinking when we got set up, I was like, this girl is like way out of my league. I don't even have her area code. I'd have to use like one of those pluses and a long country code to be in her area code to call her. I mean, she is like so far above me. And then, so we're on this date. I was just happy to be there and get a picture with her. And then LSU beats us, snapping a 31-game winning streak, if you remember. LSU had just lost to Kentucky.
This is the 93 game.
This was the 93 game. They come in like, nothing to play for, nothing's good's going on, and they just beat it. We couldn't get anything going. If I remember right, we played Palmer at quarterback a lot that game.
Well, when you say we couldn't get anything going, this is one of my I'll die on this hill thing. Had we started Palmer at quarterback and played the entire game with David Palmer at quarterback, running no more than the 6, 8, or 10 plays that we could run with Palmer at quarterback, we would have won the game.
Because Barker was hurt, right?
I think not only was Barker hurt, we played true freshman Freddie Kitchens in that game, and he was ineffective, as most true freshmen would be. And so that didn't work. I think Kitchens may have even started. But at some point, we're just out of ideas. We're like, let's just put in. So in the fourth quarter, let's just put in Palmer at quarterback and just leave him out there and see what happens. Boom, started coming back. They couldn't really stop him, as if anybody ever did.
But the problem is, what I'm saying is, like, this is the kind of spot where LSU would come in and do something. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
historically, 93 to 2025 means nothing. I know somebody's going to be a smart aleck and say that, but it's also not nothing if you believe in history.
I believe in history, or if you ignore history, it just simply repeats itself. This is a problem I'm going to have with the if LSU wins. Let's just say it ends the streak of Alabama losing to unranked opponent. This LSU team is better than a huge percentage of the ranked teams that Alabama beat all during that area. That's crazy to call this LSU team unranked. I guess it's not crazy to call them unranked because they're literally not ranked. LSU is one of the best 25 teams. Their only losses are to top 10 teams. I think they've only lost to teams ranked in the top 10 at the time. I think that's true. This LSU team is one of the 25 best. It's silly to me to refer to them as Alabama versus unranked LSU. They're only unranked because they play in this ridiculous conference where the whole league is like the NFC North.
They're a victim of SEC bias that going the other way. They're like, okay, well, LSU can't possibly be any good. The LSU is still pretty doggone good, but because they had unreasonable expectations, they've fallen short of them. They just get kicked way out of here. But and for whatever reason, Texas is immune to that. But anyway, so let's give our predictions on the game.
Yep.
Do you think weather's going to be a factor at all? I know rain could be an issue.
Well, as I look outside in Tuscaloosa right now, it's raining.
Good work, James Spann.
It's raining.
Thank God you're not the weatherman. Looks pretty good out there, y'all.
Here's my report. Kind of, it's actually, I think the rain's ending and it's just kind of yucky outside. And I think it's going to look like this tomorrow. I think it's going to be cloudy with a rain shower here, a rain shower there kind of day. But no, I don't believe the weather's going to affect the game in the sense it's not going to be a washout. It's not going to be heavy rains. Might be a little wet out there. Fans need to bring some sort of poncho type thing. Except for, Luke, he'll be in a box, of course, because that's how he rolls. But I do think that that the weather's not going to be a factor, more so for the fans, I think, than the players.
Well, what's your prediction? Not for the weather.
I think Alabama wins 27-17. I think it's going to be a close game that Alabama pulls away in the fourth quarter. Let's just say it's 17-17 going in the fourth quarter, and Alabama scores 10 because they just simply wear them down in the sense I do think as good as LSU is, Alabama's a little better. The more plays that are played in the game, the better team's going to win out. I do think LSU is going to come out of the gate playing well and playing hard. Funny, a lot of times you go on the road and that happens. Coach Saban used to call it the poop storm, but he used another word than poop storm. But he would say, hey, when you go on the road and you're playing a fired up team, there's going to be an early poop storm that you have to survive. I think LSU's going to generate that from the emotion of playing for Frank Wilson, from Brian Kelly's gone to a new start. It's going to feel like opening day for LSU. Heck of an opportunity for them against Alabama. I think we're going to have to weather that early. Won't be surprised if we fall behind early. But I like Alabama eventually winning out over time, and I'll go 27-17.
I'll be quick, and I'm also going to add poop storm to the words I don't like to say. But
first G word.
Just cringeworthy. Now, one thing I noticed. So if you start with UL Monroe, take Florida State out, which I'm trying to really hard to get it out of my memory. But if you start with ULM, well, actually start with Wisconsin. Mm-hmm. We score 38, then against Georgia 24, then against Vanderbilt 30, Missouri 27, Tennessee 37, South Carolina 29. We're due for more than 30 again. So I'm going to say Alabama 31-17. I like your 17 number for them. LSU's going to score. I mean, look, it wouldn't shock me if we give up points on the first drive. That's sort of what we've been doing.
Football's a game of 11 one-on-one games. That's sort of going on. There's 11 different one-on-one games going on. And you know what? They got Barry Brown. They got Aaron Anderson. They got a complete freak at tight end and Trey'Dez Green. Caden Durham's a pretty talented guy. Harlan Berry is like some sort of five-star running back. And Garrett Nussmeier, many thought would be a first-round pick before the season started. He's banged up Ryan Williams style and sort of just out there playing every week. But I think he's a little banged up, which explains why he's not. But what my point is, you're going to lose some of those one-on-one matchups at times. They're too good not to. Luke's right. They're going to score. They're going to have their moments. Why? Sometimes their dude's going to beat our dude because they got players. So I do think it's going to be close. But I like your score, and I've not noticed the pattern that you picked up on. That's good. That's good.
Let me say that. See, the reason I think they will score some is just what you say. See, their weakness is their defensive line, so that'll keep them from scoring a ton. I mean, their offensive line. So that'll keep them from scoring a ton. But they're good enough that if their offensive line is just good for one play, that could be the big play.
That could be
and that's what I think. That's what I think will happen. How about SupplyHouse? Love SupplyHouse. When the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with SupplyHouse. Order today and see parts on your doorstep tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. They are awesome. Need parts fast for a project? SupplyHouse has the next day delivery. Talk about a game changer. The part finder tools and 3D schematics can save you hours on jobs where every detail matters. Join the free Trademaster program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit SupplyHouse.com to sign up for free. Use promo code SHCollege5. That's SHCollege, the number 5, for 5% off your first order. That's SupplyHouse.com. Real people, real service. SupplyHouse. I'm not. I took a flight last night to New York. Going to see my uncle, who I was hoping would get to come down here. He's a little bit older and just a great dude, and so he wasn't able to come to LX City and see my mom. It's my mom's oldest brother. So I flew to New York. I'm just going to hang out with him some this afternoon. Play a lot of Scrabble. He taught me how to play Scrabble, and now I kick his butt routinely, which I enjoy. Even here in the later stages of life, I still have that competitive gene to beat my uncle in Scrabble as often as possible.
I hope you win with the final word being glazing. Report back to us here, Locked On Bama, if that happens.
Is Poop Storm in the Scrabble dictionary? All right. So, but anyway, I saw
Storm, checkmate.
I was encouraged because on my flight last night, I saw several Bama people coming to New York for the St. John's game. I was hoping to go, but I'm not. I'm actually flying back very late tonight now because, like Jimmy said, I'm invited to a box, which I'm very excited about. It's not my box. I'm just a tag along. And so I'm excited about that. But I'm encouraged that so many Bammers are coming up here for the St. John's game. I think that's very cool. I appreciate all of y'all.
Look, I got some buddies up there. I got buddies up there.
And I wanted to go. And if I hadn't been invited to a box, I would be going. But regardless, saying all that, I think St. John's wins this game. I think that I don't know if they blow us out. I don't know any of that stuff. I'm just saying I think Alabama's not ready for this yet. We're too young. We're too green. And I think that we've got to get a little better here. But that's okay. This is going to be a step forward. Don't lose faith if we get run out of the gym. Don't lose faith.
Love how you said it's a step forward, almost regardless of result. It's going to be so good for Alabama to play for this brand new team and this, you know, the chemistry that will be created by playing such an elite team on the road. I love it. This is going to be a grow up game. I mean, you're going to grow up whether you win or lose. So I love that for this team. 2 reasons I'm also going to pick St. John's to win. 2 reasons. Number one, me and Luke have said all the time when we preview this basketball team, there will be losses. The schedule's too tough. So there will be losses. Number 2, I've said, you know, I don't know that this is a Final Four type team at Alabama. I don't know. I do think it's a Sweet 16 level team. You know, when you get to the Sweet 16, you know who you're going to play? Somebody like St. John's. Yeah. Somebody like St. John's is who you're going to run into in the Sweet 16 or the Elite 8. I don't know that Alabama is going to beat that type team this year. So for that reason, I'm picking St. John's. But I'll also say this. Alabama could outperform expectations in March because all it takes is for this team to have a great shooting night. And they're highly capable. And if they do it Saturday, they could pull it off with one of those scorching nights from behind the 3 with guys like Petway. I mean, not Petway.
That'd be amazing if he flew in from Kennesaw State.
What a comeback. What a comeback. Holloway is what I was. Holloway, Reitzel, and Philon all having big nights behind the 3. They could do it. They could do it. And I'm going to pull for them to do it. And I hope they do, and they might. But I'm with you. I think too much too soon. I'll go St. John's here.
Okay. Let's move into SEC picks very quickly. A lot of decent SEC games. It's not a terrible weekend. Georgia at Mississippi State. Sneaky fun. Bulldog on Bulldog crime. I'm going Georgia.
Both teams have played nothing but one possession games all year long. This must be another one possession game, another common outcome. Mississippi State's losing these one possession games, except for last week. Georgia wins them, except for the Alabama game. Georgia in a one possession game.
A&M, Missouri. I would think Missouri would have a shot if Bo Prabula were there. He ain't. Texas A&M, and they cover.
Exact same way. I think this is a game A&M also wins by I think A&M's going to win by 1 score, another 1-score game, and when it's over, I'll be saying if they have Bo Prabula, Missouri wins this maybe by more than 1 score. I think Missouri will play great, but it's just too big of an ask for freshman quarterback Matt Zollers, who Alabama took a long look at in recruiting, by the way. They talked.
Florida at Kentucky. Sweet Mother Earth. I can't imagine anybody wanting to go to this, but if they do, I think Kentucky pulls it out, and now they've got a 2-game win streak.
Canceled due to lack of interest.
Canceled due to lack of interest. my favorite reason for something to be canceled.
Florida wins. They just have more good players than Kentucky.
And then Auburn at Vanderbilt. Boy, Jimmy, I've hemmed and hawed here.
Really?
I have.
Okay.
Because I do think there is Auburn's got a better shot to be re-energized by the coaching change than LSU does. And in the end, though, I think Vanderbilt's just better. And in the end, you want to go with the better quarterback and also the better coach. Clark Lee's a good coach. I'm not saying DJ Durkin isn't. We just don't know. And so I guess I'll go Vandy in a close one.
Vanderbilt has been a better football team than Auburn all year long, and I have no idea why we would think that would change. Vandy's just been better than Auburn almost weekly. Vandy's also a good bet to play close to their A game. They do most weeks. They might not win every week, but they play close to their A game, and their A game is just going to beat Vanderbilt. I mean, just going to beat Auburn. So I like Vanderbilt by 14.
I would love that. I would really love that, but I think
that's what's going to happen. I say Vanderbilt's going to win something like 31-17.
All right, that's
going to be your LSU Alabama score.
Oh, that's a good one. All right, that's going to do it for today's pod. We'll be back tomorrow with a post-game show.
Going to be late. Going to be late, but we'll be here.
Late. Hang with us. We're both going to the game. I got to drive back, and then we're going to do it. Hang with us. We'll be ready. But so you be ready too. So until then, roll tide, everybody.
Roll Tide.